Good morning, friends. Good morning, audience. So I promised that the last addendum was the last addendum or video I'm going to record in regards to this movie, but I'm going to do one more today, uh, and that's it. That's it. So this ship looks to like it's blue and it's sleek and fast, different from the other ships, and it does look like a cross, right? There's an S, as if there's an S there. Well, I don't know the S, but there's like something similar to a cross that's upside down, right? You know? And then there's the music of Blue Danube. So we're talking Germanics here. Maybe Martin Luther. You know Rabbi Martin Luther? No, he's a rabbi. Nothing different from Stalin or Hitler or Lenin or whoever it is. So I think I found I mentioned to you this uh, like the movie is filled with symbolism and numerology and so on and so forth. And then there's this sign here, the four that Ataturk and Erdogan and a lot of people flash, right? Like between now and then. Uh, this here is for is FOR for the one. Who is the one? Well, I'll give you a clue before. It could be Neo in the movie The Matrix, right? Like Neo. Uh, that there's the one, right? Or it could be Hitler, or it could be Martin Luther, or it could be Stalin, or Lenin, or Castro, or Pinochet, or whoever it is. Does appear to me like certain foreign secretary of state of the U.S. who's still alive probably for now. I don't know, but that's what it is for the one. So we're gonna continue. So as you can see, four. There's that four lights. One, two, three, four. There's four, and there's that one. The one is above uh, Floyd Haywood Floyd, right? Haywood, what's up, man? Okay, so that seems to be him. They're saying here, and then the blue atmosphere, and then the UFO from space, right, on the screen, and there's the pen, right, and then comes the angel, right. So the four lights, and the one above him. So what they're telling you, this is the one. Now he arrives late after he apparently summons all, the Mongols in that Chinese emblem, Air Force emblem, spaceship with the Chinese Air Force emblem, and other ships as well. They all converge on this supposedly Freemasonry edifice invisible in plain sight, and hiding in plain sight, and so on. And now he arrives late, right? There's this gigantic or inclusive conference that is, like they all arrive to hear instructions, and these instructions are something similar to Stalin or Hitler dispensing orders, right? He could destroy the state, and there's nothing you can do. So I want to show you something about the pen. So he shows you the pen, right? Now this is not far-fetched. Everything in this movie centers around that cubic house in Mecca, or black monolith, or this gigantic occurrence, this unprecedented occurrence in history. The black monolith and Muhammad, and those Arabs. I proved it to you, right? But if you look at the pen itself, it does have resemblance to the black monolith itself, right? There's, I mean, it does appear to me as such. That's not far-fetched. What's happening here is that the Floyd Haywood, Rabbi Floyd Haywood, and Kubrick's for that matter, what they're saying is now that they own what he, Muhammad wrote about, and his companions and his Arabs and so on. And they had trapped it into their blue. Not true, folks. Do you hear of prediction and post-diction? Sometimes in the modern day, there are supposedly historic predictions, but they're really post-dictions. How would you verify? You cannot, right? If you go back to history books, the ones that you cannot have access to, you being Joe Schmo or Goyim or, man versus Superman, and so on. But much of that blue having cornered the world or existed that long and so on, it's not true, folks. This is recent. This is very recent. Started, I would say, a while back, yeah. There was a nucleus. As long as there were rabbis, there was that nucleus, right? Not, not very well defined, but it was there. No, well defined, but not widespread, right? So what they try to tell you about the past, them being there and having built things, not true, folks. Not true, right? So the pen now, what they're trying to say is when remember Muhammad touching the monolith and kissing it, and then Robert Haywood, I keep saying Robert, I don't know why, I know somebody by Robert, excuse me, Robert Haywood, I don't mean you. Haywood Floyd, right? He touched it, but then he got buzzed in the brains, right? What they are trying to say is now they're presenting themselves to the God or La or Allah as the alternatives, right? Those monkeys, they push them aside and replace themselves with them. It happens sometimes. Sometimes you see certain women, right? Right, and she looks nice, right? Appealing or nice and so on. Next day you see her and kind of a little bit different, right? And then you don't, what they're trying to do is instill on you, in your psyche, that's someone you like. But then next day, when you try to hesitate, that your inner mind or psyche is seeing different thing, right? That's when you sometimes overcome, right? Overcome, and sometimes you don't even overcome at all. This is called bait and switch, right? The old Arab Bedouins, not the main Muslims, right? And some of them still practice it. What they do is, if you wanna marry one of their daughters, right? They show you the beautiful one, right? Hey, how are you, and so on. And then after you do the marriage contract and marry her and all that stuff, turns out to be the other one, the sister. That's the ugly one. It's called bait and switch. Sometimes they still do it now. So I see that here happening. I swear to God, it happened to me sometimes when I saw a woman and it looked appealing. Next day, there was different one altogether. They look a lot alike, as if they're like identical twins, but they're not the same, right? So be careful there, buddies. So what they're trying to do is that deceive God, present themselves as the ones who received the monolith and what they consider that cubic house in Mecca as a portal. He doesn't see, right? All right, now let's continue. So the 4-1 now is 4 and Robert, who is wearing black. And if you know who he is, like I told you, he is also mentioned in the series The Vikings. What if your God was a grim hat man, right? And my God, motherfuckers, my God is the real God who created me. That's Allah. Now comes the angel from nowhere. She enters. Now we're talking, I think, the West Germany and Germanics and Anglo-Saxons, right? Now Floyd, Rabbi Haywood Floyd and company stole everything from the Arabs, and now they're landing it where in northwestern Europe. That's true. I myself read or seen or heard or something when these books were transferred in the millions from Spain and elsewhere, of course, a little bit later into northwestern Europe. There was this rabbi, Jewish man, translating from Arabic because they talked Arabic, right? To a Westerner, right? And he was trying to say, and he said, this is Sefer. And he says, what's that? He says, when he mentioned he was teaching him the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there are the fractions, and there's the cipher, and the either English or something, or German, I don't know. He says, what is cipher? Which turned 0, right? And 0, right? He says, it means nothing. And sure enough, cipher in Arabic means nothing, right? So that's what they're trying to say now. They brought it here. But they're not going to allow you to enjoy much in the last century, starting with Martin Luther, right? And in the last century, the rabbis, Hitler and Stalin and Lenin and uh, Winston Churchill and the Roosevelts and so on, they destroyed it. Right now, the Germanics and Northwestern Europeans and the Anglo-Saxons, for that matter, and the French, right, and even the Spanish, they're helpless, right? They're being diced and sliced and turned into mess, right? Their families, their values, their lifestyle, their national identity, everything in it, they basically just whacked it. Now it's according to the new motto. It is according to Dugin of Putin. Dugin of Putin. It is Eurasia, your Russians, your Chinese, and then your Iranians, and so on. That's the replacement. And Putin, of course, was coming to basically wipe out Europe as it is. He got stuck. Oh, one more, Trump and Bush, and so. So you know who the one is, right? But here, he's wearing black, and that's who he is, and that's who he will always be so long they exist, right? So he's the rabbi, and then he rides alone in his ship, right? And then his name is here. I'm not sure, but I think it's Martin Luther. He's riding that ship with like a cross, and then having summoned all these forces, right? Now they're in the conference, and he is going to show them what to do and what not to do better. So when he dispenses instructions and informations, it's like Stalin. Do you remember Stalin when he stood on the podium or on that platform, and then everybody was sitting down, right, to Politburo or whatever those monkeys are. They would watch him. He smiled, they would smile. He says something, that's it. They would clap, and that's it. That's the one. That is the one. He is the Lenin, the Hitler, the Stalin, the Ayatollah, the Assad, or the donkey for that matter, Mao Zedong, right? And then right now, the last one, the premier, Xi Jinping, right? And then you get your Winston Churchill, and Robert Mugabe, and you got your MEBS, MBS, and you got all those, right? These are the ones, right? They think themselves born to serve. I don't know what that means. I would swear he's like coding the steps here, but I don't want to go anymore in trying to decipher his insinuations and calculations and so on. And, 1, 2, I don't know. But she's an angel, right, from God, because now what they're saying is God appointed him. He gave him the pen, like the gavel, right? You have the authority and knowledge, right? He doesn't, right? The pen, that's what it is. In the form of a small black monolith. And in his sleep, remember? In his sleep. Oh boy, there he comes. There comes the one, the 4, 1. Okay, folks. I want to tell you something. Then, if you look at the ceiling, 4, 1, but then it turns into eight lights, right? The eight is in the Quran, and it says, وَيَحْمِلُ عَرْشَ رَبِّكَ فَوْقَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانِيَةٌ. Meaningly, and then upon the day of judgment, eight will be carrying above us humanity. Eight, he just said, mentioned the number. Eight will be carrying the throne of your Lord, right? Allah. Right? I don't know why they use number 8. I heard like Super 8 and whatnot. I think I mentioned that before. But the story is very simple, folks. If you look at the September 11th, among many, right, you will see it taken straight out from that book of the books of Nietzsche, Zarathustra. You know, like the two towers were removed, the good and evil, right? You know, good and evil, right? They were removed, and one was replaced, right? One replaced it, and the top of the one building that replaced it is an octagon, right? And then, of course, in the book of Zarathustra, he talks AIDS, he talks destruction of good and evil because you have to surpass, you know, and so on, and bringing man back into animal farm, and really, September 11 commenced something big in the world. War on global terrorism is really on Islam, right? And then Europe was to be taken over by Putin, right? Rabbi Putin. Oh, he is, yeah, and his cohorts, right? And Dugin was waiting to bring the Eurasians. And Eurasia, if you look at Eurasia, it's in 1984. You know, the war with the Eurasians and right. So the Eurasians, and I, you know, look, when I mention the word Mongol, I mean the old ones. You know, Genghis Khan and company. Modern generations, you know, they're like us and so on. And they don't owe modern generations. They don't owe an apology or an explanation for what I'm talking about. My Sunni Mongols, right? You know, like they don't owe an explanation or apology for what those early ones did, right? And Genghis Khan is also the one, right? So who's the one? You figure that out. Of course, they are waiting for something or someone called the Mashiach and the Messiah. And they're trying to kill him by poison, by stereotyping him. They're just trying to scuttle him. Whenever there was the one for them, even prior to Prophet Muhammad, from Moses down, every time they tried to kill him, poison him. And when Prophet Muhammad, you know, the monkey, the one who kissed the black monolith, they poisoned him. They tried to kill him a number of times. They didn't kill him, but they were like, he was sent to establish a new world, right, that has never been there before. Suddenly, they don't like that, and they were all over him, you know, like assassinations, setting up wars, you know, things of the sort. So that's it for today, folks, and I'm going to start uploading this shortly. Have a nice day.